Hi, Mary Cover Jones? Yes. Nice to meet you. Have a seat. Now let's get started. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Well, I attended Vassar College for my undergrad and graduated in 1919. And I was inspired to go to grad school after I attended a lecture by Watson who talked about his little Albert study. So then I attended Columbia University, and in 1920 I received my master's, and then later on in 1926 I received my PhD also at Columbia University. And I also conducted a study in 1923 with the little boy named Peter. I wanted to know if it was possible to eliminate his phobias by modifying his behavior. And then later on in 1927, I took a position as a research assistant, and I was involved in a longitudinal study that was conducted by the Child Welfare in Berkeley. And then the longitudinal study did go on until 1980. It was with the Oakland Growth Study. And then later on, during the years, I was also appointed as an assistant professor, but I wasn't able to become a full professor until 1959 because of the anti-nepotism rules at Berkeley. All right, you mentioned that you did some research in the past. Tell me a little more about that. Yeah, so in my little Peter experiment, I wanted to find out if we could eliminate his phobias. As we saw in Watson's study, he was able to condition Albert to be afraid of a white rat, and I wanted to know if it was possible to counter-condition a fear in a child. So, since Peter was afraid of white rabbits, we had to slowly introduce the rabbit to Peter in different sessions. And we developed different fear-reducing techniques, and we found out that direct conditioning was the best way to eliminate his fear. So, we would present his favorite food along with the white rabbit. So, by presenting food and the white rabbit simultaneously, he was able to touch the rabbit without being afraid. And then in my Oakland Growth study, we had to follow a group of 200 5th and 6th graders through their young adolescent years to adulthood. And during the study, we did have to do several follow-ups as the participants went from middle to older adulthood. And through this study, I was able to see the uniqueness of each individual's development. And what experience did you gain from your work? Well, with my work with Peter, I was able to treat his phobia while also taking into consideration that each individual is different. So with Peter, I was able to apply systematic desensitization by exposing Peter to the white rabbit, but also maintaining a comfortable and relaxed space for him. And I believe that this technique has been able to help others with behavior therapy. And also because of my work, I believe that it's very important to use empirical observation to be able to modify someone's behavior. And also it's important to take into consideration that even though that one technique worked for one child, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work for everyone. So it's important to develop new techniques to meet that individual's needs. Okay, and you mentioned that you were an assistant and a full professor, right? Tell me a little bit about your teaching philosophies. Since I mentioned that my work has focused on empirical observation to modify behavior, I believe that it's important for others or future students to understand how this is used to treat psychological issues while also applying scientific principles into future experiments, especially if this is the path that future students want to take. I also want to be able to share my methods on reducing fear in children so students can understand how different techniques can be useful to reduce fear or even reduce anxiety. And with my experience in behavior therapy, I think I can inspire others, especially if this is the career they want to take. And also, I'm aware that everyone is different and they're unique. So if students have any concerns, I am prepared to update or modify my teaching techniques, because it's important for me to provide the best experience for the students so they can be successful in the class and in their future careers. Alright, and what can you bring to this department that's unique from others? I believe I hold a great importance in the field of psychology because of the work that I have done in behavior therapy. My experiment with little Peter was one of the earliest examples of how direct conditioning was used to eliminate phobias. I was able to use conditioning principles that have been used to teach a person or animal to perform a certain behavior, but use it in a way to reduce or weaken a fear response. By using direct conditioning, I was able to eliminate Peter's fear by presenting something that elicted his fear response, but in a relaxed state. And since most of my work has been with children, I was able to modify their behaviors, and also learn the importance of treatment during early childhood, so there wouldn't be any long-lasting effects as they got older. And because of my work, I have been able to further expand the understanding of behavior therapy by applying certain techniques to treat psychological disorders. Alright, thank you for your time, Mary Cover-Jones. We'll keep in contact and update you about the position. Thank you, I appreciate the time you took to meet with me today.